Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Couple of articles in the realm of the beast system. The first one here is from the Times of Israel, and the headline here is IDF trials remote-controlled Riot Dispersal gun in Hebron. So, yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I know. Good use of the technology. The Israel Defense Forces has placed a new system that can remotely fire riot control ordnance during unrest in the West Bank city of Hebron.
Ordnance. That is a great word to use.
Great word, I know. The riot gun, which was installed at a checkpoint on Hebron's Shuhada Street, is being tested as part of a pilot program and currently is only being used to fire sponge grenades, and the military told the Haaretz Daily. The system is also capable of shooting stun grenades and projectiles containing tear gas. They're not doing it yet. They're just capable of that. Quote, the possibility is being examined of using a remote-controlled system for approved means for dispersing riots, the IDF said. According to Smart Shooter, the company that developed the system, a soldier can lock onto a target and press the trigger, and the riot gun then moving into the proper position before firing. A prominent local Palestinian activist expressed concern over any potential failure, quote unquote, of the riot gun, which uses artificial intelligence to process images. Quote, I see that as part of the transition from human to technological control. We Palestinians have become an object for training the high-tech industry of the Israeli army, which is not held to account for what it does, Issa Amro told the newspaper. Other technologies the IDF has deployed in Hebron, a frequent flashpoint between Israelis and Palestinians, have also drawn scrutiny. In 2020, a former Israeli soldier revealed they had photographed thousands of Palestinians to build a database for a sweeping facial recognition surveillance program in the southern West Bank city, Hebron. And then it goes into just a little sentence about the history there. But yeah, there you go. You know, it's so convenient to the crowd dispersion is how they're describing it with civil unrest. But, and they even say themselves, like it can be mounted with different kinds of ordinances, which means they're building a kill bot. Yeah, it's a kill bot. It is a kill bot. And the agenda sort of continues of not simply making the labor of oppression easier. And I'm going to take this out of the Israeli-Palestinian context, which it doesn't need to be taken out of. Of course, there are certainly critiques of what's going on and how power is being wielded there. But any power structure that takes the liability out of the hands of a human and puts it into an AI is a power structure that will be even less hesitant to wield deadly force because there literally won't be a human involved. Now, of course, the remote control thing is the thing, just blah, 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 blah. But it uses automation already, and the remote control, more or less, because we've seen this in every instance of something like this, the quote unquote remote control capability is pretty much just boils down to PR. It's just marketing. Like, don't worry, a human will be involved for now. And but what it is, it's a liability disbursement system is what it is. Because then you don't have a soldier that can be sued or jailed. You don't have a chain of command. You don't have a human sergeant who gives the order, blah, blah, blah. It all goes to the robots, and they are much more difficult to justify any sort of recompense against deadly force. Yeah, but you can also, because of who is wielding this technology here, I mean, it just becomes easier to sort of push back against the machine, so to speak. But also, this kind of reminds me of this idea that, the gamification of everything, including warfare and riot control and stuff like that. This is almost like putting all of those things that are pretty difficult to do in sort of the traditional ways of force and military and all that. And it's putting it on easy mode. You know, you just kind of aim and hit the button, and then the AI will do the rest, you know?
And we've seen it. We have a history of it with drones, with American, remote controlled drones, where we're flying, drones over the Middle East, and it's a kid in Nevada, in a bunker somewhere in Nevada with a literal Xbox controller that they use to control these drones. And, we've been seeing horrific results from that program that really picked up pace during the Obama era. And not just from the people getting missiled at their wedding, and not just the, you know what I mean? Not just the people who live their lives where if they look up in the sky and see a dot way up there, they have to run and hide, because even if they're not a terrorist or whatever, even if they're not the target, those things are hitting people.
Collateral damage.
The collateral damage. Some of the most recent numbers I saw were something like, I think it was higher than this, so I could be corrected, and I know which direction I would be corrected. I think it's higher than this. But the collateral damage rate was 60%. 60% of all people that these remote controlled drones killed were not the target. So, that is an enormous.
There's just a good spread,
It's quite the spread, huh? And it's interesting how it started in the sky, and it's just going down to ground level now. So, yeah, even if it is remote controlled, that doesn't make it any better than if it was autonomous robots killing people. It's almost, I don't know. It doesn't make it any better. We've seen the damage that comes from remote controlled drones, and this is incredibly disturbing. And if the IDF is going to be using it, it's only a matter of time before it's on domestic soil all over the world.
Yeah, the psyop of everybody calling for gun control. They didn't finish the sentence. Right. It's like gun control of the robots. Robots
and
control the guns.
Guns. Yeah, 60%. That means more people die of collateral damage than they do on purpose. And with what we're seeing in Iran right now, Iran just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Israel. All the riots in Iran, the uprising against the regime over there. People are getting shot in the streets.
Are they raining fire down from heaven? Is that what's happening?
That's exactly what they're doing over there.
Interesting.
And, it's just a matter of time before this company, literal death company in Israel, starts selling their robots to other quote unquote peacekeeping forces around the world.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles, and it makes sense that whoever this dude that arrives at the end times is supposed to be, he's got the power to call fire down from heaven, or at least his false prophet does. More specific there.
Well, maybe that's what the mark is, because they talk about all these what do they call them? The AI tricking things you can do, the makeup and the jewelry you can wear on your face that confuses the facial recognition.
Yeah.
You got to get a QR code on your forehead, so when the robots see you, they don't shoot you. See, it confuses them. Mm-hmm. So if you want to survive the robot apocalypse, you just have to take this cute little mark. That's not actually foretold. I'm just, blabba-dabbing here at the end of the show.
It's sort of the way the mark of God is supposed to work in a sense as well.
Okay, yeah. There you
go.
Go
Go read Ezekiel too. Ezekiel, I believe it was, what is it, chapter 2 or chapter 9? I think it's chapter 9, where Ezekiel is told to mark people's foreheads to be spared while the judgment rolls through. In the ancient times there. Yeah.
An oft forgotten passage.
Yeah. So there you go. And speaking of drones, by the way.
Welcome to Chinese news. It comes from China. China.
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
TheDrive.com headline: China pairs armed robot dogs with drones that can drop them anywhere.
Oh, cool. Tactical dog drone helicopters. Love it.
Footage of a Chinese-made drone carrying a robot dog is armed with a machine gun has started to make its rounds on social media, and it looks like it was taken straight out of a dystopian war movie. It isn't immediately clear if the video was recorded as part of a Chinese military exercise or rather in an effort to demonstrate how the pairing will operate. But even without that context, the clip could serve as a foretelling of the technology that may populate future battlegrounds.
Could be.
And remember, battlegrounds, the what was his name? The what was it?
Starts with an M.
Forgetting his name.
Macy Gray.
Maddox, Mad Dog. I forget. Man, maybe the chat will remember the speech at the graduating ceremony at, I forget the school too.
I think it was West Point.
West Point. You're right. Yeah. And I forget the guy's name. But anyway, he was talking about urban warfare and that like everywhere will become a battleground. Like nowhere are you safe. But anyway, the woman in video was originally...
Well, and he was saying how warfare... Millie, by the way.
Millie, yes, thank you.
Mad Dog Millie.
Yeah.
His whole speech about how war would be everywhere, but would be a smaller, more tactical, small squads.
Right.
Yeah, you helicopter in a couple of robot dog drones, and booyah, you're not safe anywhere.
Yeah, the woman in video was originally posted yesterday on Weibo, the Chinese microblogging website, by a user either affiliated with or representing the local defense company that reportedly develops the drone being used to deploy the RoboDog.
Oh, either, huh?
Yeah, either.
Cool.
And the tweet here by Leah Wong. Bloodwing, a Chinese defense contractor, demonstrates drone deploying an armed RoboDog. The future is now. I love how positive they are about
the company is called Bloodwing?
Bloodwing.
That's cool.
Yeah, cool name. The footage begins with a shot of the drone as it approaches the rooftop. I mean, why don't we just, I guess for people that are just listening.
Yeah, I mean, it's a helicopter drone that has a dog.
So loud. Okay, sorry. They always have to have that epic music in the background, it's just a drone carrying the dog, and then it comes down and
it's pretty hardcore.
Lands and
I mean, if you are on the Canary Cry newsletter, you'll have this link in your inbox there. You should definitely go watch it because it's just like a fun way to spend a minute and a half.
Yeah, although it does still look like you can walk up to it with a bat and just start whacking at it, and it might go down. I don't think they're really too robust yet.
The flying drones are pretty chill, but once you beat the flying drone, you still got to deal with the machine gun robot dog. Yeah,
I guess the terrifying part is that when the robot dog, because when it's dropped, it's it's kind of all curled up, and then when it finally deploys, it stands up and it starts walking around. Yeah, good direction the world is headed. The Weibo account, which is verified by the platform, has the username Crystal Defense Bloodwing and shared the video on the site, accompanied with a description that offers limited but nonetheless additional information. The account seems to be directly affiliated with the Chinese Kestrel Defense Company, also called China Kestrel Defense in some instances, although it isn't clear what exactly Bloodwing is in reference to. It is important to note.
I was going to say, Bloodwing, pretty effective name if you're trying to sell a strategic SWAT dogs that fly down on helicopters.
Yeah. It is important to note as well that all the details extracted from Weibo have been machine translated from Chinese to English, meaning some terms and phrases may not be accurately communicated.
Thank you.
Quote,
I was worried.
War dogs descending from the sky, air assault, red wing forward heavy duty drones deliver combat robot dogs, which can be directly inserted into a weak link behind the enemy to launch a surprise attack, or can be placed on the roof of the enemy to occupy the commanding heights to suppress firepower. The ground troops can conduct a three-dimensional pincer attack, on the enemy in the building. Yeah, only Chinese propaganda would be so detailed on what it can do. With the added color offered by his this description, it can at the very least be gathered that the drone robo-dog pairing was conceptualized with the idea that it could be deployed during assault operations, especially in urban areas. Oh, you know what would be bad, Basil, is if this whole, because here's the thing, China doesn't follow any of the international rules when it comes to, like, intellectual property or
literally
weapon,
anything.
like literally anything, right?
Yeah.
And the big thing with US right now, at least what is being told to the public, is, hey, look, we're not weaponizing our robo dogs. We're not giving it. We're giving plants a machete and robot arm, but robot dogs, we're not equipping them with.
We're arming the plants, not the dogs. Okay, chill out, everyone.
But think of the I don't know, the difference there, where in the US it's like, oh yeah, we're not doing that. We're staying ethical.
It'll
and then China
remote controlled.
And then China
it
being
won't
like,
hurt anybody.
China being like, hey, they're gonna roll in from the sky. They're gonna come down and land. I wonder
It's
if they're
gonna
just
be dope. It's gonna be so sick. They're gonna kill so many people. You're
the
gonna
robot
love
takeover in the US is literally gonna be a bunch of robot dogs with machetes, or maybe they're wrapped in plants and they have machete arms and guns, and they're just being rained down in droves.
Yeah,
the huge swarm army of Chinese robot dogs coming down from the sky. Meanwhile, the Americans are like, we were ethical, and then it all goes down.
I mean, such is the story of the past 5 or 6 years, really.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they've been wanting, and that's exactly how it's turning out. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't think this is supposed to comfort us in any way, at least out here. I guess
it's a psyop, Gons. It's a psyop. It's working.
Are they trying to get people to purchase more guns? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, or build a effective EMP rifle.
Oh, see, yeah, the weaponry changes, right?
Yeah,
that's information that I bet would
the historical battle between armorers and armor makers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the advancing technology that affects the person with the stronger technology being deemed the winner in the end. So maybe the US are deploying some kind of like EMP weapon that just like knocks. So Joe Biden's going to come out with his his aviators on. 89 years old is still take out Chinese drones.
Yeah.
And bam.
Well, they're forgetting the spiritual technology, and that's what we got here, folks. That's why you come to Canary Cry. All right. Well, I think that's it, Gons.
That is it. Yeah.
You feel good?
I feel satisfactory.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes it's just good enough to feel.